My name is Felicity, I'm 37 years old, and I learned the hard way that trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. Before everything collapsed, I had what most people would call an ideal family life. Surprisingly, I even had a warm, respectful relationship with my mother-in-law. There was no constant tension, no passive aggression, no warning signs. My husband, Frank, was my best friend, the man I built my life around. From where I stood, our world was steady and secure. We weren't perfect. Of course, we argued like any normal couple, but nothing ever hinted at what was coming. There were no red flags I ignored, no intuition I dismissed. Everything truly seemed fine. Until it wasn't. What happened next shocked me so deeply that it forced me to see my husband and his family for who they really were, and why I chose to retaliate rather than remain silent. I had planned a surprise vacation to Spain, originally meant to be just Frank and me, but when I thought about his widowed sister, Tiana, and how lonely she'd been since losing her husband, I decided to include her. I paid for nearly everything: hotels, meals, excursions, asking only that Frank and Tiana cover their personal expenses. It was meant to be a gift. 2 weeks in Spain, Barcelona's winding streets, warm Mediterranean air, tapas shared over laughter, a once-in-a-lifetime trip to bring us closer as a family. I genuinely believed this would strengthen our bond. The day I revealed the surprise, I stood in the living room holding the plane tickets, my heart full. Frank and Tiana sat across from me, curiosity written on their faces as I laid out the plan. Frank's reaction was exactly what I'd hoped for. His eyes widened, a grin spreading across his face. "Felicity, you're incredible," he said. "I can't believe you did this." Tiana smiled too, soft, controlled, almost rehearsed. "My dear Felicity," she said warmly, "this is far too generous. I'm truly touched." In that moment, I felt proud, happy, validated. I thought I'd done something beautiful for the people I loved. What I didn't realize was that beneath those smiles, something darker was already unfolding. We arrived in Spain as planned. The first week felt magical: paella by the sea, historic streets glowing at sunset, flamenco music pulsing through crowded plazas. We laughed, explored, and took photos like a perfect family on holiday. I remember thinking how lucky I was. Then Monday morning came. I woke up to an empty hotel room. At first, I assumed Frank and Tiana had gone out early, but minutes passed. Then panic crept in. Their bags were gone. No note, no message, nothing. I called Frank. No answer. I called Tiana. Straight to voicemail. My heart began to race as I searched the room, closets, bathroom, bedside tables, hoping for some explanation. There was none, just silence. Then my phone buzzed. It was Tiana. Relief hit me for half a second before confusion and hurt took its place. I answered immediately. "Tiana, where are you? What's going on?" I asked. Her voice was cold, nothing like the gentle tone I was used to. "I returned your call because my phone wouldn't stop ringing," she said flatly. "Sorry if that bothered you." My chest tightened. "I woke up and you're both gone. Your things are missing. I was worried something happened." There was a pause. Then she said it, without hesitation. "We left you." My breath caught. "Why? Did something happen?" "I couldn't spend another week with you," she replied. "I just couldn't." "Did I do something wrong?" I asked, barely above a whisper. "Yes," she snapped. "How can you be so dense?" "Excuse me?" "You forced this trip on me," she continued. "I've been pretending for years. Felicity, I don't enjoy your company. A few hours at family events is manageable, but 2 weeks?" I reached my limit. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. "I'm on my way to the airport with Frank," she finished. "We're leaving. We can't be around you anymore." And just like that, the truth finally surfaced, raw, cruel, and impossible to ignore. The shock hit me like a physical blow, rippling through my body and tearing apart the trust one had so foolishly believed was unbreakable. My mind spiraled with questions I couldn't answer. What had I done wrong? What crime was so unforgivable that it justified this cruelty? How had everything deteriorated without a single warning? And most painfully, was there truly no room left for reconciliation? Confusion and heartbreak tangled together. sinking deep into my chest as the sting of betrayal took root. I had no idea you felt this way, Tiana, I said quietly. None at all. You never gave me a reason to think there was a problem. If something bothered you, why didn't you tell me? Why not sit me down and talk it through? Because even now, I honestly don't know what I've done to deserve this. That's just it, she replied flatly. I can't explain it. You just irritate me. I blinked. You're joking. That's the most childish excuse I've ever heard. You abandoned me because of some vague irritation? I thought maybe I'd offended you, said something wrong, but I didn't. Did I? Not exactly, she said, but it doesn't matter. What matters is how I feel, and I don't like being around you. Then why agree to come on this trip at all? I asked, my voice cracking. Because it was free, she said without hesitation. No one turns down a free trip to Spain, but as the days passed, I couldn't tolerate you anymore. What did I do? I demanded. What was so unbearable that you decided to leave me alone in a foreign country? She didn't answer. Her silence pressed down on me, heavy and deliberate. I felt anger rising, but beneath it was something worse, sadness. Deep, hollow sadness. I swallowed hard. Let me speak to Frank. Without protest, she handed him the phone. I had no doubt he'd been listening the entire time. Hello, he said, his voice distant and cold. Really, Frank? I said. You left me too? I didn't leave because I hate you, he replied. I left because my mother needed me to bring her home. My heart sank. So you knew. How long have you known she felt this way about me? For a while, he admitted. I hoped this trip would help. I thought you'd grow closer. Then why didn't either of you talk to me? I asked. We're adults. We've worked through arguments before. What made this different? He said nothing. That silence told me everything. The only conclusion I could draw was that his mother hated me for a reason she couldn't justify, one she knew would sound ridiculous if spoken aloud. Maybe it was jealousy. Maybe resentment. Maybe I represented something she could never have. Whatever it was, her refusal to explain only confirmed it. I'm honestly stunned, I said at last. I never imagined you felt this way. I hope you both have a safe flight. I ended the call. I paced the hotel room, my thoughts racing. 47 years on this earth had taught me one undeniable truth. Sometimes people hate without reason. Sometimes envy and bitterness masquerade as moral superiority. Still, I never expected that lesson to come from my own family. After the tears finally slowed, clarity took their place. In that quiet moment, something inside me hardened. I realized I had a choice, to crumble beneath their cruelty or to reclaim control. And I knew exactly which path I would take. I wiped my face, my grief replaced by resolve. I wouldn't waste another ounce of emotion on people who discarded me so easily. They wouldn't walk away unscathed. I dialed Arlo, my childhood friend, the one person I trusted without hesitation. When I told him everything, my voice shook, but my purpose didn't. Felicity, he said after listening carefully, you know I've got you, always. So, what's the plan? You know how your construction company is always stuck with excess sawdust? He chuckled. Unfortunately, yes. I think I've found the perfect use for it. His curiosity sparked as I laid out my idea, step by step, deliberate and precise. Bags of sawdust delivered straight into Tiana's home. Every room, every crevice, a mess impossible to ignore, a silent reminder of the chaos she'd unleashed in my life. Arlo laughed softly, impressed. That's evil, he said. I love it. With his help and my determination, the plan began to take shape. Then came the final obstacle. How do we get inside before they return? He asked. I smiled slowly. You just need to find the spare key hidden under the potted plant on the patio, I said calmly. That's where the spare key is. Arlo laughed. You really thought of everything, didn't you? I don't like being played with, I replied. I'm reasonable, until someone decides to go low and act childish. And when that happens, I smiled to myself, I go lower. The hours that followed crawled by, anticipation coiling tightly in my chest. Then my phone buzzed. Mission complete. Arlo had sent photos. I opened them slowly, and there it was. Tiana's once immaculate home reduced to chaos. Sawdust coated every surface, flooding rooms like a golden tide. Furniture drowned. Floors buried, curtains, counters, vents, nothing untouched. It looked less like a house and more like the aftermath of a controlled demolition. I burst out laughing. When I called Arlo, his laughter matched mine, loud and unrestrained. It felt cleansing, like exhaling weeks of bottled-up pain. Naughty can be incredibly satisfying, he said. He wasn't wrong. As the hours passed, I imagined them unlocking the door, stepping inside, and freezing in disbelief. The thought sent a thrill through me. Confusion, panic, helplessness, the very emotions they'd left me with. Then my phone rang. Frank. His voice shook as he spoke. Felicity, it's horrible. The house is destroyed. Mom's hysterical. I let the silence stretch before replying. Good. It serves you both right. You abandoned me in a foreign country without a reason. There was a pause. Wait, did you do this? Before I could answer, I heard her, storming into the call. Give me that. Tiana shrieked. How could you do this to me? I stayed calm. Do what, exactly? Oh, don't play innocent. Who else could it be? Have you considered, I said sweetly, that this might simply be karma? Felicity, be serious. This sawdust is everywhere. My lungs hurt. Where are we supposed to sleep? I sighed. Oh, that's right. You probably forgot to bring the keys to my house when you ran off. That's unfortunate. I guess you'll need another hotel. For how long? Frank asked. Well, I said thoughtfully, I did pay for 2 full weeks in Spain, and who knows, I might extend my stay. I'm enjoying myself. Tiana began wailing again as Frank grabbed the phone back. This was foul, he said. How could you do this? I don't know why you keep assuming I had anything to do with it. I replied innocently. I'm literally in the hotel jacuzzi. How would that even be possible? I ended the call smiling. They suspected me, but suspicion wasn't proof, and that made it even sweeter. They had nowhere to direct their anger, no one to confront, just consequences staring them in the face. I know what I did wasn't kind. It wasn't gentle, and yes, given Tiana's age, it could have been dangerous if they'd stayed there. But I knew they wouldn't. The house was uninhabitable. They had no choice but to stay elsewhere, on their own dime, while I stayed exactly where I was. Because I refused to waste money, or opportunities. I spent that extra week in Spain savoring every moment, sunlit streets, long dinners, slow mornings. Meanwhile, they were scrambling, calling cleaning companies, stressing over costs, and realizing that their impulsive cruelty had consequences. Eventually, Tiana would have no choice but to stay in my home. With me. Which was deliciously ironic, considering she claimed she couldn't stand my company. So let this be a reminder. Some people only understand consequences when they're forced to live with them. And if you ever decide to deliver your own justice, make it memorable.